This is not an ordinary action. At long last, the whales have returned, approximately 100 trillion Shiba Inu in 1 second. Now let me tell you something. This also indicates that a significant change is on the way. The community is celebrating. Analysts are dropping their predictions. Shiba Inu is becoming more and more difficult to handle. What is now taking place, and what exactly is it that I am even talking about right now? Okay, I will provide an explanation. Welcome to Dr. Crypto, your daily serving of Shiba. This is the spot for you if you're curious about anything related to Shiba. If you want to keep informed about all the latest news forecasts and stay ahead of the crypto industry, subscribe. To get more Shib news, be sure to click the like button. A big event has just occurred lately, and to be quite honest, it's causing a huge amount of turmoil among the whole Shiba Inu community. The whales suddenly did something so significant and so shocking that it has become the topic of conversation for everyone. This is not only a typical transaction or a casual shopping binge. This was a calculated, forceful, and purposeful move. It is the kind of action that does more than just cause a ripple effect. There are ripples that are felt across the whole market as a result of it. And the most outrageous thing is this, at least according to one expert who is well known in the field. This may very well be the sign that we have been waiting for, and it indicates that Shiba Inu is well and fully back in business. Not simply back for a brief pump, but back in a manner that has the potential to alter everything. There are already those who are muttering about the 1 cent dream once again, since this has the potential to be the start of something so significant. I am aware that you are probably wondering if this information has already found its way to the chart. Is there any evidence of actual progress being made? Yes, it is correct, and the analyst provided a comprehensive explanation of the situation. The trend is exhibiting all of the appropriate indicators, and Shiba Inu continues to retain its breakout goal. It has lately broken through a significant barrier that has been preventing it from progressing for quite some time. This was not just a minor relocation. It was a clean break that was made with confidence. From our current position, the anticipated upside is more than 5 times what it is at this moment. Yes, I have done it on 5 separate occasions. There is a possibility that Shiba Inu may skyrocket and reach heights that have not been seen in a very long time if this scenario unfolds. It is not something that should be ignored when large-scale whales begin to invest in a company, since it indicates that there is significant growth potential. The evidence all points to a positive outcome. The chart is developing in a really aesthetically pleasing manner. It is becoming more apparent that the whales are making big, daring wagers, and the general feeling around Shiba Inu is beginning to resemble that of the early days once again. However, it's much more enormous. The price movement is finally beginning to catch up with the communities, which have been energized, and the developers who have remained engaged. It is very possible that this is the catalyst that ignites the next Shiba Inu surge. Then, what exactly took place? Well, the figures are rather straightforward. And what we are seeing at this particular moment is not something that you see happening every day. Something of great significance has just been discovered based on new on-chain data. The Shiba Inu supply is beginning to fall under the significant influence of whales. At this point, we are just discussing 46 big wallets, which have more over 120 trillion coins in total. In the hands of a relatively tiny group that is more than 12% of the overall circulating supply. This is why this is important to consider at this time. Achieving this level of focus is not something that happens by chance. This is a strategic move. Furthermore, when whales act in this manner, when they amass this much control, it is not for the purpose of sitting about, according to historical precedent. It is often an indication that some significant event is on the horizon, due to the fact that this kind of buildup often occurs before a significant price movement. Either they are aware of information that the general public does not have access to, or it is about to go vertical. Even more baffling is the fact that the inflows into these enormous wallets have utterly detonated. In recent times, we have seen an increase of nearly 500% when you compare that to the month before. When inflows were actually decreasing, it is a really significant change. All of a sudden, whales are starting to pack up, and quickly. At the same point, outflows have increased dramatically, by more than 6,000%. However, here is where the unexpected element comes in. Outflows continue to be much lower than they were in the previous month. What conclusions can we draw from that? It signifies the fact that whales are not going anywhere. They are not abandoning their relationship. They are now in the process of relocating, reshuffling, and positioning themselves, which most likely indicates that they are anticipating something that they feel is going to happen in the near future. At this point, why is this such a significant development for Shiba Inu? Supply and demand are the most important factors in every economy. The number of tokens that are accessible in the market is reduced when a small number of powerful individuals control a significant portion of the supply. As a result, when ordinary investors, retail consumers, or even institutions begin to enter the market and demand increases, there is an insufficient supply of goods to satisfy everyone's needs. What are the consequences when the demand for a product or service exceeds the amount that is available? There is a sharp rise in the price. Quickly, Shiba Inu is in an ideal position to thrive in this kind of situation. This is no longer just a case of overblown advertising. This is mathematics. The price might perhaps reach the idealistic level that everyone discusses, given the fact that the number of whales is increasing, the supply is decreasing, and momentum is growing. When the fundamentals begin to align in this manner, the possibility of reaching 1 cent becomes much more probable, despite the fact that it may not seem feasible at first. The initiative is gaining momentum in terms of confidence. There are more holders who are committed to the long term, and there is less circulating supply. It is the precise formula that is required in order to execute a parabolic motion. Furthermore, if this pattern continues, this might be the time when Shiba Inu really begins to close the gap between where it is today and where the community has always imagined it could go. We will just claim that the rocket is now in the process of warming up. This is where matters begin to get quite intriguing, since, as researchers have pointed out, Shiba Inu is doing more than just moving. It is undergoing a process of transition. Shiba Inu is now at a significant crossroads in its history. It has just begun to encounter a significant resistance wall as a result of its current price momentum. We are discussing a massive supply zone that includes more than 500 trillion tokens. These tokens are stored in pockets that were purchased at prices that are around the current market price. That is a huge number of holders, and many of them will likely be interested in breaking even or cashing in on some of their earnings after holding for a long. Into the Block has recognized this wall, which is composed of more than 166,000 wallets, all of which are placed within the same range. The implications of it are not difficult to understand. This is a hurdle that is both technological and psychological in nature. When the price reaches this point, selling pressure often begins to build because individuals recognize that they have been presented with an opportunity to ultimately recoup their financial losses or secure their profits. It is somewhat similar to encountering a barrier that is impenetrable. However, there is an unexpected turn of events. Everything has the potential to change if Shiba Inu is able to break through this barrier and if the current trend is strong enough to surge above it. If there is a breakthrough above that zone, it might set off something significant. Consider the possibility of algorithmic purchases, short-term traders flooding in, and a wave of FOMO sweeping across the board. That type of breakthrough may be just the thing to send Shiba Inu flying into that next cost range that many have been anticipating for months. On the other hand, if it is refused, we may see a little decline. The possibility of profit-taking might result in selling pressure in the near term. However, even with that in mind, it is not always a negative thing. In any healthy effort to break out, these kind of retests are commonplace. It is the broader perspective that is important. And as of right now, what about that larger perspective? It seems to be stronger than it has ever been before. The amount of whales that are accumulating is unprecedented. Inflows are reaching new highs, outflows are changing, and now we are seeing Shiba Inu attempting to overcome an important resistance zone. This is not something that happened by chance. It is a movement of the market that is coordinated. The project is developing, the chart is indicating strength, and the community is more lively than it has ever been before. Yes, this is most definitely a metamorphosis. The Shiba Inu cryptocurrency is no longer just a cryptocurrency based on a meme. It is a rising force that has genuine traction and is supported by actual evidence, and a genuine opportunity to advance to the next stage of their career. If it is able to pass the supply wall, it may be the catalyst for the next large rise, and it could even be considered a step closer to the 1 cent fantasy. Shiba Inu continues to seem very strong even as we go forward into the future. As a matter of fact, we don't even have to wait for the future to arrive. It is something that we can see occurring in the present day. Something incredible has been reported in the news in the last few days. Shiba Inu was used to pay for a dental bill in the United States, when a patient really paid $5,000 for their dental treatment. That is correct. It is usefulness in the actual world. The whole of the medical care that this individual received was paid for using Shiba Inu tokens, utilizing the Zipto application, which is a platform that enables cryptocurrency payments. Payment may be made directly and smoothly without the need for any conversion or further processes. Zipto announced the news in a post, and while they did not disclose the name of the dental facility, what they did demonstrate is groundbreaking. The usage of Shiba Inu to pay for routine procedures is now official, and this does not just involve one dentist. It indicates that there is an increase in adoption across the whole board. This is how it works. Users of the Zipto app can simply go to the bill payments area, choose their supplier, which might be anything from a dental clinic to American Express, and then choose Shiba Inu as their form of payment. After they have entered the amount and verified that the information is correct, the application will take care of everything else. It changes Shiba Inu into US dollars instantly and immediately transfers the money to the service provider. The user is not even need to convert their cryptocurrency manually before to the process, and the whole procedure is completed within 48 hours. That is what true adoption looks like. There are no guarantees and there is no hype. Simply genuine folks who are using Shiba Inu to cover expenses in the real world. Furthermore, we should not forget the true implications of this. This demonstrates that the meme coin story is no longer sufficient to define Shiba Inu, which is in the process of evolving into something far more significant. Shiba Inu is brought into the mainstream as a result of this kind of use case, in which payments are made in a smooth manner. It provides trust to holders, developers, and even corporations who are now beginning to see Shiba Inu as more than simply an asset, and are instead starting to regard it as a kind of currency. In addition, all of this connects seamlessly to the present status of Shiba Inu, since it is all directly related. As of right moment, we are seeing widespread whale buildup, breakout attempts on the graph, and real-world usage of cryptocurrency. This is what it looks like to experience growth. Infrastructure, acceptance, and legitimacy are all important factors, in addition to pricing action. This is confirmation that Shiba Inu is changing, which is something that the community has been anticipating for a long time. Therefore, although there are still those who are skeptical, there are others who are actually employing Shiba Inu to mend their teeth. Once cryptocurrency reaches that level of usage, you will realize that it is no longer simply a coin. It has become a movement. However, what is your perspective on this matter? Please leave a comment in the space provided below. The day is over now. Remember to give it a big thumbs up to see our most recent material, share it, and subscribe to the channel.